All right, we are live now.
Okay, thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. We'll call this meeting of council to order. Please remind everybody to shut their phones down. Hang on. I'm the first one that should do that. Done. Thank you kindly. Land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we are gathered on the traditional territory of Indigenous peoples who've been stewards of the land since time immemorial. And as such, we treat the land, its plants, animals, stories, and people with honor and respect. We have the playing of O Canada, please. Could I ask for a moment of silence, please? Thank you. Some comments for today. So again, good afternoon and welcome to everyone. I trust everyone enjoyed the Thanksgiving long weekend and the very nice temperatures that went along with it. As we're all aware, not everyone shares in the same good fortune, and I ask that all residents of North Hastings share in this good fortune and support our local food bank to the best of their ability. We're also reminded at this time of year of those that live in precarious or no housing at all. The town has and will continue to work with the county and province for workable solutions to this and the ongoing mental health and addiction issues facing our region. September 20th saw the fruition of the federal election campaign, and on behalf of council, I've extended our congratulations to Shelby Cramp Newman on her victory. I'd also like to congratulate all those who were not successful, but took it upon themselves to run. I've extended an invitation to Shelby to meet with us to brief her on the opportunities and issues facing her area, and in particular, the previously mentioned issues of housing, mental health, and addiction. While many issues fall under provincial jurisdiction, these are also national issues that need to be seriously addressed by all levels of government. And I just want to take an opportunity to ad-lib for a moment because I had a very interesting phone call today from a concerned citizen who participated in the assembly outside of the town hall, who felt that the town was not doing anything and that we had bags of money and we didn't really care about the homeless situation. So I did enlighten them and about all the work that we have been doing, and have asked them, along with everybody, to please address the upper levels of government on this issue, because as we all know, we have been doing our very best to bring this issue to the forefront. I also did take the opportunity to mention the 18-unit housing initiative that the county had put forward last year, but that was turned down by the Housing Authority here in Bancroft. So, and that they were currently working on another one. So anyway, just wanted to add that little point there. And on the good news front, I was extremely pleased and thankful for last week's announcement of sustainable increases to long-term care funding by the provincial government. As chair of long-term care for Hastings County, I can attest to our commitment to provide the best possible lifestyle for the residents of our two homes located in Belleville and Bancroft. And this funding is a very positive step in continuing that direction. And I'd also like to, I don't see him here today, but I also take this opportunity to thank Chief Hoover and the Parks Department staff for the fantastic work they did on the Mosaic project in Millennium Park. I recently received correspondence from Tanya McKinnon, Executive Director of Maggie's Resource Center, who was overjoyed with the effort and outcome by town staff. And I pass this message on to them. Well done, guys and girl, I believe. And lastly, an update on our two major town initiatives, the construction of our community hub, affordable housing complex, and the upcoming reconstruction of Hastings Street North. Both projects are still slated to begin construction this spring, although we, like many, are experiencing challenges in obtaining professional services in a timely manner. We'll keep the public updated as we continue to move forward on these two exciting projects. So thank you, everyone. Adoption of the open session agenda. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Bancroft do hereby approve of the open session agenda dated October 12th, 2021, as presented. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Caulfield and Councillor Barry McGibbon. All in favor? So passed. Declaration of pecuniary interests and nature thereof. Seeing none. So today we have a delegation from Quinte Healthcare, and I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome Stacey Dobb, who is the CEO and President of QHC. I believe, correct me if I get anything wrong here, Stacey, you were hired about this time last year, but you started, I believe, in January. And you came from North York Hospital, I believe. Yeah, and before that, I think you had spent quite a bit of time in Orangeville and also with CCAC.
Yes, that's correct.
And I'm going to read a couple of quotes that you gave, just so it'll set the tone for what you're going to tell us today. So,
okay.
Hopefully you remember these. It says here that Dobb said she once led a 22 hospital group to educate Ontario's health ministry on the unique needs of rural and smaller hospitals, and has devoted much time to addressing the funding needs of medium-sized hospitals. There's a continuing need for such education of government officials, she said. She said she's eager to meet and work with the community, including leaders of healthcare organizations. Dobb says she believes strongly in organizations partnering to provide integrated services instead of operating in silos. So that's the segue for you for today. So we're very glad to hear of that. And we know you've been out and about in the community. So we welcome you.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to bring up my slides here. Make sure I've got the right one here. Just should take a minute. While the slides are going up, thank you so much, Mayor Jenkins, and to the rest of Council for having us here today. In addition to having the opportunity to introduce you to QHC's new leadership, and I happen to think that's really important, that Council knows the leaders at Quinte Healthcare. I also want to provide a brief update on Quinte Healthcare and its hospitals, as well as request your ongoing support, including a renewed partnership to continue to build and strengthen local healthcare. I want to start by thank you so much for the introduction of me, but I do want to introduce Nancy Evans, who has joined me. Nancy Evans is the new chair of Quinte Healthcare. Nancy took on her role in June of this year. As many of you know, the chair and governors of hospitals are all volunteers. So Nancy is a volunteer. And she comes to that role after being vice chair, but also with many, many years of supporting local healthcare and getting her inspiration from seeing healthcare through the eyes of a caregiver who helped to navigate two parents through the system. As Mayor Jenkins indicated, I've had a long history in healthcare as well, not just healthcare, health and social care. And when I arrived in Orangeville at Headwaters Healthcare Center, I knew I had found my place in terms of thinking about community hospitals and growing their strength and their contributions to local communities. And I'll speak to a little bit later to the work that Mayor Jenkins spoke of. I'd also like to acknowledge Kim Bishop, who's the chair of North Hastings Development Fund and an exceptional supporter to the North Hastings Hospital. I know Kim wears many, many hats, and it's been really inspiring to watch her, to meet her and to watch her both her love for her community, her help in me understanding the community. One of the questions I often get asked is, what is it like to join an organization like Quinte Healthcare during the midst of a pandemic? And while it has been very strange in many ways, it also has been incredibly humbling. I have been heartened not only by the welcome I have received from Quinte Healthcare team, physicians, nurses, lab techs, hospitality workers, but also from the welcome and support for the 4 communities I have served or that I do serve. In addition to managing COVID, which was well into its second, going on to third wave when I arrived in January, I told the board that I had another critical priority, and that if I was going to serve the communities that our hospital served, I had to get out and know and understand them in a way that could only be possible by spending time in those communities. So I have devoted a great deal of time in terms of trying to get to know the communities, including Bancroft, North Middle, and North Hastings. I have walked Hastings and introduced myself to business owners. And I'm very happy to say last week I was at a Lions Club meeting with the Lions group, talking to them about the future of the hospital. And several people recognized me from meeting me on Main Street, which means I'm eventually making the rounds. I spent a Friday a few weeks back at Foodland, just standing at the main doors of the grocery store, having an opportunity to talk to local residents in Bancroft about their local hospital, what's important to them and what's important to the future of their hospital. An opportunity to meet one of your family health team leaders. She just happened to be coming, Carolyn Brown, doing her grocery shopping. So we had an ad hoc extra 45 minutes talking about how we could work together. So I see it as my role to know and understand the communities I serve and the partners, my municipal partners, my business partners, my health and social service partners. So I'm committed to that over time. I can only truly understand the communities if I'm out and experiencing them myself. So like all of you, last year was an extraordinary year. It was also an extraordinary year for Quinte Healthcare. But from my perspective, as I've made my way across the hospitals, I've been so impressed by the resiliency the teams have showed during just the longevity and the constant evolution of the waves that have required constant adaptation and change. I'm very proud of all the teams that serve our communities, and they've done a remarkable job over the last year. In addition to trying to keep pace with hospital services and COVID, our teams have also moved forward on really important capital projects like a new regional ICU expansion. I'm also very thankful for the support of our municipal partners and local business partners, North Hastings Development Fund, and all of you who have rallied around the hospital during this difficult time. I know that Council supported some early intervention in making sure that our hospital was able to serve the local community. I know there's been lots of partnership activity on vaccines and many other things. As we sit today, I am relatively optimistic about the 4th wave. While our numbers are staying steady and our public health measures, both through vaccination and also other types of social distancing measures, our numbers are staying steady and relatively low. You only need to look to the west to see what happens when COVID public health measures are prematurely relaxed. It will put people's lives at risk and it devastates public health systems, including hospitals. But the COVID numbers are not the whole story to what's happening at Quinte Healthcare and North Hastings Hospital. In addition to supporting the steady stream of COVID patients our teams are supporting, we are also supporting an unprecedented number of emergency department visits and inpatient visits. Since Ontario has opened up in the summer, we have seen a marked and precipitous increase in the numbers of people who are coming back to the hospitals. And I think that that's a simple story. I think as things have opened up, people have felt more safe to go out and to perhaps seek care that they may have been delaying. Our teams are also working diligently through very large and significant care backlogs, whether it be for surgeries and diagnostic imaging. They're also providing a fail-safe for many services that have not been able to get back on their feet, like home care. And they're doing this at a time when, like other hospitals, we are seeing an unprecedented health human resource crisis, which is many, many years in the making, but really COVID provided the kind of tipping point for it. So we also have a group of healthcare heroes who are very fatigued and tired after 18 months. And we have a public and patients who are also very tired and fatigued after 18 months. So as an organization this year, we tried to keep our priorities very simple. Our first priority is how can we make improvements for today? So near-term improvements in terms of two areas. One, how can we make sure our services are open and accessible for people? How can we work through the backlogs, the surgical backlogs, the diagnostic imaging backlogs? And our second focus of today is how do we support our teams? How do we stabilize and support our teams despite this very challenging set of circumstances? Our second, so that's our first priority, really stabilizing our teams and ensuring our services are there for our communities. And our second priority is really charting a course of reimagining our future. And that's a little bit about why I'm here today. So connecting with patients, residents, all of our partners about the future of our hospitals and Quinte Healthcare. From my perspective, as Mayor Jenkins mentioned earlier, it takes a community from our foundations, our auxiliaries, our community partners to really advocate, to work together to not only address healthcare issues, but health and wellness issues in our community. And I am very eager to partner with Council in the long run on that. I want to make a special mention of primary care. Bancroft has an exceptional primary health, family health team. I know and recognize that not everybody in your community has a primary care physician, and that's something we need to change over time. But the family health team that exists in Bancroft, that was the creation of the two former family health teams, make a remarkable difference. They provide everything from home care, community care, to hospital care. I was up there last Thursday, had a primary care physician who not only had worked a full day at his office, but came in when one of our locum physicians was not able to make it into the evening, so took on another shift for us. They have a level of dedication and support to the community that I think needs to be heralded and celebrated and grown over time. But primary care is not available to everyone, and I'm very eager in working with both the counties as well as county councils on how to grow and develop ways to recruit and retrain primary care physicians for our community. I use one statistic that was very shocking to me when I arrived at Quinte Healthcare, that for every 100 babies that are born across our communities, 20 of those babies do not have a doctor, nor do their mothers. And that is something I believe we need to change over time. Partnership is what has made local healthcare systems successful. And I am very eager to not only have traditional partnerships with places like our family health teams, but also our social service providers, as well as the municipalities. In my mind, from my experience to date, when I think across Hastings and Prince Edward County, over the years, there have been many voices of advocacy, but I think there was a real opportunity for us to band together with a stronger voice. Mayor Jenkins made reference to the work that I did with medium and rural hospitals. When I arrived at Headwaters, I saw a hospital that had been neglected from a financial and an investment perspective for many, many years, and worked hard to pull the 24 hospitals together across the province to speak with one voice about the importance of medium-sized hospitals and rural hospitals to their local communities, and to demonstrate with evidence and advocacy that the funding and investment had been disproportionate over the years. And that I am very happy resulted in an $80 million investment in medium-sized hospitals as well as rural hospitals over the last couple of years. An important part, even though I often stand up with local politicians and they show the considerable investment, the thing I think people have to realize that is after many, many years of restraint. And while the system has now corrected the funding on a go-forward basis, it hasn't addressed the erosion that occurred over all of those years. So my request to you today, I have two requests for council today. My first request is for your continued support to help to grow and strengthen our local healthcare system, including making sure we have a strong and vital hospital. And I see that happening through a couple of ways. One, your continued investment and support in capital redevelopment and capital equipment necessarily to provide high quality care and keep a strong hospital. Kim and I have had a lot of conversations about the need for a CT scanner in Bancroft. It is the standard of care. I myself was up there last Thursday night, and that on that one day alone, 5 people had been transported out of the community to get a CAT scan, taking away nurses on the transportation, something that could have easily been done in the local community. The second area in terms of working together is partnering to plan and advocate for a strong healthcare system. Not only a strong hospital, but a strong primary care, a strong home and home and community care and long-term care system. We need to advocate for with one voice for amongst our communities, and I think our voices are stronger together. And the last one in terms of your continued support is support for our ability to attract, grow, and retain a large and vibrant community group of community healthcare heroes that sees doctors, nurses, therapists, and technicians choosing our communities as the place they want to practice and provide healthcare. We lost 3 staff in the last 2 weeks, 2 of them to housing and 1 because they couldn't find childcare anywhere in the community. So it's the region is beautiful. People want to come to Bancroft. They want to come to different parts across, but if they can't find housing or childcare, it makes it very difficult for them to move their families. My second request is to get the community involved in the reimagining Quinte Healthcare and the future of its hospitals. We've launched a 5-year strategic planning process, which is really intended to hear from local residents and partners. And we have a survey that we put out to local communities, and we're requesting that the councils could circulate in their local communities to have people participate. But we've also been out to local venues and groups, the Lions Club, any other ideas that you have in terms of who we should connect with locally to get feedback and input into the future of the North Hastings Hospital would be much appreciated. And with that, I'll pass it back to Mayor.
Thank you, Stacey. And I had quite a number of points here that I was hoping you would address today, and you have. So I'm not going to have a whole lot to say, though. But we really welcome your approach. We welcome the fact that you've been out and about in the community. While I haven't seen you personally, I do hear about where you are. It's like, where's Waldo? Everybody knows where you've been, et cetera. We welcome your strategic planning initiative. And I just want to pick up on something that you mentioned there about childcare and housing, et cetera. And this is a large circle, because we are at the town of Bancroft and the current council, we are very dedicated and working diligently on expanding housing opportunities. As you're aware, just as you mentioned with the healthcare system, there was not a lot done for a long time. We're now playing catch up, and it's unfortunately a little bit of a long process to get approvals through, et cetera. But as we go out to attract people, and we are attracting a lot of new people, one of the top things on their priority list is healthcare. And they do recognize what we do have here, the fact that we have a hospital, that we have an emergency room. But you hit the nail on the head. We need increased services like the CT scan, things of that particular nature. We need to be able to keep people here, or the expansion of telemed, et cetera, whatever works, so that people do not have to constantly travel outside of town. So it's a bit of a catch-22 in that respect, that we need the people, and the people need the services. As you're well aware, I know that the population of the town of Bancroft, depending on which way you come into Bancroft, it's either 3,900 or 3,500. I think it's the latter. But that is probably one of the most misleading statistics that you will find, because our family health team alone has 15,000 rostered patients. Our year-round drawing area is between 50 and 60,000 people. And we're almost now getting into a constant state of gridlock through the downtown. So we do have a lot of projects. We're trying to increase services, whether it be through health care, through trying to open a fitness facility, all the things that people who are relocating from the city want. So I think we're all on the same page, and we really welcome your approach. And we're very happy to work with you, and also to give a shout out to Kim hit there. I know all the work she's done on the capital side over the years, et cetera, and all the more important that it does continue. So thank you very much for coming today, and we really appreciate it. And I'd like to open it. Maybe I could get your PowerPoint off the screen so I can see everybody. There we go. Is there anybody that'd like to make any comment or have any questions for Stacy at this point in time? I guess I must have said it all. So there we go. So once again, thank you. Please keep in touch, and anything we can do to be of help, we are most certainly happy to, because it's greatly needed. And I think you summarized the past, the present, and hopefully the future in your little presentation today.
Thank you, Mayor Jenkins, and I will offer to all council members, I am a phone call away. So if you ever want to chat about local services, want to have a question you want asked, I see it as my job to be available and responsive. So look forward to partnering with you to strengthen local healthcare and wellness in your community.
Great. Thank you. So I'll just read the draft resolution. Be it resolved, the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Bancroft is hereby receive the presentation from the President and CEO of Quinte Healthcare. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Miles and Councillor Wiggins, all in favor? Thank you. And I have already filled out the survey. I welcome others too. I believe it was attached to the agenda there, the link to the survey. So I please welcome everybody to fill that out. Item 7, minutes of previous session. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Bancroft is hereby approved the minutes of the meeting of council held on September 14, 2021 and September 21st, 2021 as presented. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Caulfield, Councillor Wiggins, all in favor? So passed. Thank you. Minutes of standing committees and verbal updates. So item A is Committee of the Whole Committee. So we have a number of resolutions that I'll go through individually here. The first one is be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation Town of Bancroft is hereby approve of the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting held on September 21st, 2021 as presented. Mover and a seconder, please. Deputy Mayor and Councillor Bbia Agm, all in favor? So passed. Thank you. Did you have a comment, Barry, or a question? Or are you just waving at me?
Yeah, no, I had a question. When we're talking about the extension north.
Yes.
Anyways, Malcolm noted that if our trunk going down the main street wasn't sufficient, we could just run another trunk around.
Barry, can I just ask you? That's the next resolution. Let me put that on the table and then you can speak exactly what you're saying, okay?
Okay, perfect, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the next resolution is be it resolved that council does here authorize the release of a request for proposal to complete the Hastings Street Trunk Sewer Extension Preliminary Design Assessment as outlined in the staff report dated September 21st, 2021, and further that the project costs incurred in 2021 be funded by a reallocation / transfer of other budgeted capital in the sewer budget, with the balance becoming a pre-commitment in the 2022 capital budget. Can I have a mover and a seconder on that one? Barry, I'll let you move that. And a seconder, please. Deputy Mayor. Okay, sorry, Barry, now go ahead with your comment and question.
I guess because I had mentioned last at our meeting about our sewer capacity going through town, and if we redo our main street, what do we do? And Malcolm mentioned that we just run another line parallel. But I guess after I got home, I got thinking, well, where's the easement Where can they get an easement? There's a lot of costs just to run another parallel line, and I think it's in our best interest to be on the ball here before we do our main street, because I really think that's the only solution if we have to go bigger, is to put it in our main street.
So those questions have come up before and I have asked them myself. Okay, so
Yeah.
Number one, we've been assured that the condition of the line right now is good from the, I think the camera imaging, et cetera, that we did. I've also been led to believe that the capacity of that section through there, and we'll let Perry answer, go further on this, is sufficient to handle what we see in the near term, present term, you know, et cetera. I think what Malcolm was saying, that if, and I believe this is what he's saying, that when the day comes that the urban boundary is expanded, and not to be confused with the town boundary, but the urban boundary, to release more land as we consume the amount of land that is within our urban boundary now, that maybe then there might be a need, and that there might have to be a route for an additional line at that point in time. That's, from what I understand, Barry, and I share your comment, that it's quite a ways down the road. And yeah, and the other point is, you and I will probably both long be gone by the time that happens. So
yeah, okay, and I guess that's what I was thinking. If it was just within the town boundary, if that needed to be increased in the near future. But if it's long-term planning, well then, okay.
Perry, I'm going to let you comment on that and refute anything that I might have said if it's incorrect.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. That's exactly correct. As far as the size of the sewer main that runs down through Main Street, there's a mountain of capacity there for the flow within everything within the town boundaries. And just to echo what Malcolm Hundo talked about, was if we end up servicing out in the north end, outside of our municipal boundaries, then you are correct, Mr. Mayor, that we may have the need to put another line out. But there's other ways to do that too, Councillor McGibbon, rather than having to re-tear up Main Street. We could catch the catchment area coming across the river and down through Shimoshkan, which is already there. That could be another possibility there as well. When we get to the Dairy Queen pumping station, if we need to do the upgrades then to a bigger size pipe, then we're not impeding on the current construction that is being completed as it stands. But if we get into that type of a realm of work, we'll be looking at major upgrades to our sanitary sewer plant itself in order to accommodate the higher flows.
Perfect.
Okay. Good. Any other questions on that? Seeing none, all in favor, please, with that resolution? So passed. Thank you. Next one is, be it resolved, the council does hereby approve that Baker Tilly KDN LLP Baker be selected as auditors for the 2021 year-end financial audit as presented. Mover and a seconder on that, please. Councillor Caulfield, seconded by Councillor Tracy McGibbon. All in favor on that, please? So passed. Thank you. Last resolution, be it resolved, the council does hereby approve a $750 fee for advertising purposes to the Bancroft Rockhounds as presented. Could I have a mover and a seconder on that one, please? Councillor Wiggins and Councillor Tracy McGibbon, is there any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? So passed. Thank you. Item B, Building, Property and Bylaw Committee. Resolution, be it resolved that the council does hereby approve of the minutes of the Building, Property and Bylaw Committee meeting held on September 21st, 2021 as presented. Could I have a mover and a seconder on that one, please? Councillor Wiggins and Councillor Miles. Any comments or questions on that from anybody? Seeing none, all in favor? So passed. Thank you. C, Bancroft Community Safety and Wellbeing Committee. Be it resolved that council of the corporation of the town of Bancroft is hereby approve of the minutes of the Bancroft Community Safety and Wellbeing Committee held on September 22nd, 2021 as presented. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Wiggins, were you there? it moved, and Councillor Miles. And Deputy Mayor, are you still here? Did you want to speak on that? I guess we maybe lost Charles. Wayne, is there anything of significance that you wanted to mention on that, or? You're muted, Wayne.
I think it's self-explanatory. We're working on a number of issues. There's a new issue coming up, et cetera, but I think everything's moving along great. We're still working with a number of issues in the town and working with our residents. So other than that, I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
There's Charlie.
So Charles, was Wayne just giving a little dissertation on the Community Safety and Wellbeing Committee. Was there anything you wanted to add from that meeting? You're muted. You're muted, Charles.
No, lately Wayne's covered it all.
Okay.
We're going to ask Perry to come and speak about the line painting and
Okay.
the no left-hand turns, which he's been discussing with engineers. So he's going to come to our next meeting and discuss that.
Okay.
And I don't think there wasn't anything else that was major.
Okay.
No, we did mention the safe consumption site mobile clinic, and the lady that was going to speak to us, we didn't realize she was on her holidays and she was in Italy, and so she was in Italy on the Zoom, and it worked quite well, but she really didn't want to spend a whole lot of time, so I said we'd book her for another date.
Okay. Sounds good.
And the other thing that we would like to bring forward is that our next committee of the whole is our own plan for the community safety and well-being plan.
Okay, great.
And
Yes.
I think lately what we'll like to do is add our part to the one that's been done for the regional one and see if we can make it work for everybody. But we think we should be on the regional one as well as we need our own as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think we need our own plan for sure. So
Yep.
Anyway, okay, all in favor, please? Oh, and just a matter of interest, I've asked Amber to sign us all up for a lip reading course because of all the times that everybody's on mute. So anyway, I haven't heard any details yet, but as soon as I get them, I'll let everybody know. Okay. Okay, item 9, minutes of local boards and joint committees. Bancroft Business Improvement Area Board of Management. Be it resolved, the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Bancroft is hereby receive the minutes of the Bancroft Business Improvement Area Board of Management meeting held on August 26, 2021 as presented. Could I have a mover and a seconder on that? Councillor Caulfield, Councillor Miles. Councillor Caulfield, would you like to speak to anything on those?
Sure, just a couple of quick highlights. We did approve money to build scarecrows at all of the gateway gardens. So those are all in now. So you should be seeing the friendly scarecrows welcoming you to town beside our beautiful Bancroft signs. The Veterans Day banners are up and located with the exception of 5 new ones that are en route that we haven't got yet. So please take some time between now and the middle of November to pay homage to the folks who gave us this great country that we're in and kept it this way. And last but not least, the Bbia Agm is at the end of October. So if you would like to participate in that AGM, please let Jody know and she can send you a link to the Zoom invite. And we're hoping to have an update there from Perry and Malcolm with regard to what business can expect next year once we start the downtown construction. That's about it.
Thank you. I didn't realize there were actual scarecrows that were at the locations. The one I saw, I thought it was Councillor Wiggins after he'd gone on a diet, but now I'm glad it wasn't him. So we're good on that. So
That's my second part-time job.
okay. Well, it's pretty tough when you got to go from being Santa to a scarecrow. That's
You got her.
yeah. So all in favor, please. So passed. Thank you. Next one, Eastern Ontario Trails Alliance. Be it resolved, the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Bancroft is hereby receive the minutes of the Eastern Ontario Trails Alliance meeting held on June 10th, 2021 as presented. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Wiggins, second by Councillor Barry McGibbon. June 10th is like years ago, Wayne. Maybe you could give us some new information as well if you take a moment.
Well, yeah, I think I'll just give you a bit of an update. Anyway, as I say, we're moving along, still looking after our trails to the best of our abilities with the information and finances available. One of the big highlights this summer, although it doesn't fall within, it is part of the trails, is the bridge at Medoc. That's moving along very well. That was a huge capital investment. Thanks to our province and the feds for helping out. It'll be ready to be telling me, so done yet, will be shortly. So that's a big taking. I guess the other bit of news, I'm not sure whether I should chair or not, but I am now going to be chair of Eastern Ontario Trail Alliance for the remainder of the term. And so I guess maybe now what little say I had before is now gone. But anyway, if I have any concerns I can bring forward, I will. A great hardworking group that's working to keep the trails open, promote tourism to our area. So other than that, I'll leave it at that. Any questions? I'll try to answer.
Councillor Bbia Agm.
Barry?
Yeah, on the Bessemer Trail that is in the ownership of the town of Bancroft, does the Trail Alliance maintain it, or is that Bancroft, the town, that maintains it?
I can find out tomorrow or Thursday, but I can't tell you.
I don't know if Perry can tell us, but I know from the Heritage Trail into the almost Bessemer, Bancroft owns that right away, but there's a culvert that's collapsed and there's quite a hole there. The trail really should be closed until it's fixed. And then at Mullet Creek, the beavers have plugged the culvert and the water's running across, so it needs to be punched out as well. So, but those are two concerns. But from the way the water was going, the trail won't be there for long.
Just making a comment, I'll bring it up Thursday unless Perry can answer those.
The only thing that I was made aware of was the culvert that was plugged on further down the trail, and the water was run over the trail. I hadn't heard anything yet about the Bessemer line itself. I would agree with you, Councillor McGibbon, that it's not an Eastern Ontario trail, although it's used as a trail. But yeah, we would like to have some confirmation from EOTA because it is used as a snowmobile link trail during the winter months. So there may be some cooperation there with Eastern Ontario Trail Alliance for doing some maintenance on it.
Yeah, but the culvert itself, it's 400 meters east of the Heritage Trail, and it's completely rotted out. Somebody stuck logs in, but it's a real hazard. And I'm afraid if something doesn't get done, somebody's going to get hurt. It's that bad.
So Barry, so you're suggesting we should close that trail off now until it's fixed?
Or fix it. Just take the backhoe in there and pop a culvert in, and it's just a crossroad drainage. The pipe's probably 80 years old or 60 years old. Who knows? It's almost disintegrated. So
Barry, Councillor McGibbon, is that about 400 meters north of the Bradshaw Road?
No, you go down the Heritage Trail, and it's about 400 meters from the Heritage Trail east toward Bradshaw Road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know the two swamps there, kind of north and south, that the trail kind of goes between?
Yeah. So
yeah.
It's not on the Bessemer Trail then, it's on the actual main trail?
It's on the Bessemer Trail that's owned by the town of Bancroft.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll look into it to see what we need to do there to protect everyone's interest.
Yeah.
I would suggest if it's a town trail area, we will, EOTA will probably work with this, but I would suggest we get on it right away and fix it if it's a safety issue.
Yeah, it's definitely a safety issue.
Okay. I'll have a look.
Thanks, Barry. Let me know.
Thank you. So all in favor? Or sorry, is there anything else, Wayne, you wanted to add, or is that it?
Charles, I think, Scott.
Oh, sorry, Charles. Did you have a question, Charles? No. No.
No, I was just, yeah, you called for the question, so.
He was voting.
All in favor? All in favor? All in favor? Okay, so passed. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Item C, Bancroft North Hastings Heritage Museum. Resolution is be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of Town of Bancroft is hereby received the minutes of the Bancroft North Hastings Heritage Museum meeting held on August 31st, 2021 as presented. Mover and a seconder on that one, please. Councillor Wiggins, I believe, and Councillor Miles. Councillor Wiggins, would you like to enlighten us with anything there?
I would just like to say that the museum is still working hard following COVID practices. We're open. We do have our fundraisers available, books, calendars, etc. We will still take donations. There are donations coming in every day. It's amazing what comes into the museum. And in there, it would be a worthwhile trip to experience some of our North Hastings heritage that is well preserved there by the board. So other than that, I'd take any questions if I might. I know staff has been working there cleaning up a couple of problems this past week. So thank you to the staff for doing that. I believe there's a little issue they're dealing with. We're trying to keep it open and inform everybody. Any questions anyone has, I'll answer them if I can.
Councillor Caulfield.
I see under reports, the sustainability report, that it's requesting that the town of Bancroft petition the county of Hastings to have the museum designated as the DMO for Hastings County North. So I assume if we accept these minutes as written, then that's something that the town would be committing to do.
Well,
we are, if I can answer that, if I will, Paul.
Yes, go ahead, Wayne.
Already committed to trying to arrange that, and Robin was to look into if those funds are still available and where they go. It's a tourism tax by the province to support a tourism site, and what the hope would be is that if these through that in conjunction with the museum, we would run a tourism site through the week for sure, all summer long, probably, and the Saturdays also. We would put in the kiosk where electronically you can find information. We've got some good ideas, and it would help make the a step closer to safe sustainability. And through Rob and Paul, they're going to follow it up with the county. And I believe it is something that we should do, get the tourism back in town. We don't have any. There is a little bit that's in the office, which is they're doing a great job for what they have, but they don't have the time or space either. I think this is a win-win-win for everybody. So kudos to Robin and Paul for taking this forward. That answer you?
Yeah, I know the BBIA had similar conversations about renewing the whole DMO designation for the North. And so I just wanted to make sure that we didn't have multiple different groups vying for that title and any funds that might come with it. So.
And also, as I had mentioned previously, I've been lobbying the county for a couple of years now to develop a digital platform so that people could pick it up anywhere, or anybody by opening a laptop could be a community ambassador as far as, you know, where people could go, et cetera, points of interest. So, yeah, so I will take a third stab at that again with them, because I think it's the way of the future. Everything is, you know, with mobile devices, et cetera. And if you roll into town later in the evening or early in the morning or on a Saturday or Sunday when nothing is open, then you're still not there. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be nice to have some presence. And to me, doing it through an organization such as the museum when it's opening would make great sense as well. So anyway, so where did Amber go? I lost her. Did she disappear on us from this meeting? So I'm going to ask Amber to maybe to pen a note to remind me about that. Okay. Thank you. All in favor for the resolution? So passed. Thank you. So item 10, unfinished business, Town of Bancroft and Bancroft Business Improvement Area Memorandum of Understanding. So be it resolved that council received the amended Bancroft Business Improvement Area Memorandum of Understanding report from the fire chief And further, the council does hereby approve to enter into a memorandum of understanding between the town of Bancroft and the Bancroft Business Improvement Area. Could I have a mover and a seconder on that one, please? Councillor Caulfield and Councillor Barry McGibbon. So I did speak to the fire chief today. He was down in Trenton for the day on some town business. So I said I would address this. I believe this was brought forward at committee of the whole. I believe it was committee of the whole. And that the only sort of comment that we had was with respect to the provision that had been put in there with respect to parking. And apparently the BBIA has removed that. And the reason for that wasn't that we didn't want to involve them, is that this whole parking situation, the potential of where lots are going to go, the reassignment of space is very, very fluid and sometimes requiring some very quick action, et cetera. So they were fine with that. I will say that in any of the development proposals that we have looked at or have been examining through Malcolm, parking is front and center on all of them to make sure that we do have sufficient parking. So, and I don't know if, Andra, was there anything that you wanted to add on that?
No, just that we did talk about the parking issue specifically at the BBIA meeting here a couple weeks ago, and that the BBIA felt unanimously that parking really isn't a BBIA thing anyway, so it really didn't need to form part of that memorandum of understanding, and it was removed without any issue.
Yeah, okay, great, thank you. Any other questions on that memorandum of understanding? Seeing none, all in favor, please. Super, thank you. I think it's a good agreement. I think it spells out a lot of things, and we welcome our ongoing relationship with the BBIA. So item 11, business, Convey as one parcel agreement. So the resolution before us is, be it resolved that the council of the corporation of town of Bancroft is hereby approved to enter into an agreement to convey as one parcel with Kristen Hollyoak, Jonathan Faulkner, and Esther Robbins for lands described as Part Lot 30, Concession 10, designated as Part 1, Plan 21R-25802, Geographic Township of Dungannon, now Town of Bancroft, County of Hastings. Could I have a mover and a seconder on that, please? Deputy Mayor and Councillor Miles and Robin, would you please refresh our memories on this and et cetera?
Good afternoon, Your Worship, members of council, staff, and the public. So you have the report before you. The purpose of the agreement is to satisfy condition 6 of provisional consent for file number B59/20 to effect a lot addition to merge the severed lands with the benefiting lands. The lot addition will resolve encroachments of existing accessory buildings, which are located on and used by the owners of the benefiting lot. The lot addition is a 0.18 hectare triangle parcel depicted as Part 1 on reference plan of survey 21R-25802 that is to be added to the rear of the benefiting property. The result will be a more regularly shaped lot with a total area of approximately 1 hectare. For reference, the copy of the plan has been attached to the report. Condition 6 requires that the severed lands merge with the benefiting lands. In order to merge the subject lands, a convey as one parcel agreement is required to be entered into between the town and the owners of the severed and benefiting lands. The bylaw authorizing the town to enter into the agreement is on council's agenda for adoption today. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Is there any questions on that for Robin? Seeing none, all in favor, please. Thank you. So passed. Excuse me one sec. Sorry about that. I turned off every device I knew how to turn off and another one started ringing. So anyway. Okay, on to item B, stop block installation. Resolution before us be it resolved, the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Bancroft is hereby received the report dated October 12, 2021 from the Manager of Public Works regarding stop block installation in 2022. Could I have a mover and a seconder on that, please? Councillor Tracy McGibbon and Councillor Wiggins. Perry, please, you provide a little update there. Would you like to go through it?
Sure. Thank you so much for everyone. On August 10th, Council, regular Council, there was a resolution 246-2021 to have all the stop blocks plated basically where there was a stop sign issued by the Town of Bancroft. Unfortunately, we didn't get it doing that work. We fixed the one that was the biggest trouble spot was up on Maple Street, and it is working. So with Council's understanding that we will be doing all of these stop block paintings when we do our spring cleanup and our spring line painting at that time.
Thank you. Any questions from anybody on that? Councillor Barry McGibbon?
Yeah, when spring comes, I think we should take a look at the hotel corner. And I hate to lose a couple spaces that people can sit in, but people are getting so confused with that staggered stop block. And when the light changes, people are sitting in the intersection instead of continuing on. Once they're past that stop block, they need to move, and they don't. And we're back to trucks not being able to get around the corner. And I know Friday, I went up through there, and I got into a situation, and a lady was sitting, had to stop and block the whole intersection. And I didn't know if we should move the other stop block back to match to get rid of the confusion, or what to do.
I do believe, Barry, that the intent is to move that stop block back. It is also the intent through the downtown project to widen the sidewalk right there for pedestrians, and which would naturally mean we have to move the stop block back. I also did mention to the Manager of Public Works about in that right-hand lane to do like we've done in other areas and have a dotted line showing where people actually how they have to go back and then merge with to get onto 28 East. Because I've had people who I think they're afraid they're running into the church or something and do a stop sort of in the middle. So there is a lot of work that I believe is planned for that. But I agree with you. There's such a disparity between those two stop blocks. It would have been nice even now if we could have painted that one and somehow erased the further one, because you're right. They're saying people stopping in the left turn lane are seeing that other stop block so far ahead and are pulling up close to it. So Harry, I don't know if you have any comments on that.
If I can comment on that, ahead of is people are going to that intersection if the light's green, and if they stop, if the light turns red and they won't go through, it doesn't matter where you have that stop line. They're going to the intersection trying to head. And the problem is the ones that get out stuck in the middle haven't got the nerve to go on through, and that's our issue. You can put that stop block wherever you want, but I feel the intersection is going to fill up with cars.
I think the problem that Barry's referring to is people who are stopping for the red light and are actually stopping in front of the stop block.
Yeah, they're in the intersection side of the stop block.
Yeah. Anyway, Perry?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Jenkins. There is quite a bit of design change to that whole intersection coming up with the connecting link. Aligning both of those stop blocks so that they're beside each other. There will be an official crosswalk running in front of those stop blocks, which will be a huge deterrent for the vehicular traffic, that they won't pull ahead in fear of being right in the center of the crosswalk if they're trying to encroach into the intersection. As well, we're doing what they call a PECUNIARY 125, which is on every traffic signal. So then that will adjust the timing, as well as with the new photo radar, will make it a lot easier to help clear the traffic out of the intersection rather than leaving it to the driver of the vehicle. So, and also too, there will be another crosswalk on the south side of the intersection from Posey's across to the church. And we are going to jot out that curb, make the mountable curb out further into the intersection so that the vehicular traffic heading east don't have that premonition that you're going to run into that church wall, which is obviously very noticeable when you're going through that traffic. But I have sat there and watched the traffic now that we have changed how we're putting two vehicles side by side, left-hand turn and straight through and right. And it is working a lot more efficiently as far as clearing the traffic through the intersection.
Deputy Mayor.
Yes, Perry, I've watched the traffic go through, and to me, it's working quite well. Although, as you said, sometimes somebody will stop on the orange out in the middle, and that's what the confusion is. The other question I've got is, are you going to X out in front of the Whitfield where the two handicap parking spots are? Because usually somebody parked in that pie-shaped thing there, and it's
Yeah.
I think we should do something with that, either X it out or put a new sign up.
Yeah, it'll be X'd out exactly the same as on the other side of it. Yes, that's right.
Okay. Good.
I
And
saw somebody up on the weekend.
yeah.
So,
Yep.
Harry-
And I don't know if a bylaw officer is keeping an eye on those particular spots. I don't know, but we'll see.
Perry, can we X that out in the near future?
Yeah, with the amount of the warm weather right now, we can do it. We can just kind of tape it out and paint it rather than bringing the paint machine out, because all you need about 2 lines across there. So I'll task staff to do that hopefully before the end of the week.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you, so passed. Item C, parking lot agreement, Town of Bancroft, Canadian Legion. Councillor Wiggins, you had something you wanted to do here.
I'd like to table this until next meeting, if I might, to give us time to look into it a little further.
Okay. Amber, do we need like a mover and a seconder to do that? Is that correct? Where did you go?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll move it and second it, and I'll just put deferred to next meeting on it.
Okay, so moved by Councillor Wiggins. Could I have a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor, all in favor, please? So passed. Thank you. Item D, Wollaston Waste Export Agreement Update. Resolution before us is be it resolved, the Council of the Corporation Town of Bancroft is hereby receive the Wollaston Waste Export Agreement Update Report dated October 12th, 2021 for information purposes only. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Miles and Councillor Barry McGibbon and Perry, please.
Thank you again, Mayor Jenkins and members of council. This is just a quick update for everyone's information on how staff and management are proceeding ahead with the agreement with Wollaston Township. In the report that I had put in previously, there were 7 items to be looked at. We've had any of them that are crossed out have been completed. The item number 3 and item number 4 establish the ad hoc committee. That is a work in progress with the consultants between Bancroft and Wollaston Township, and that will hopefully come to a committee meeting or a council meeting in the very near future. It will be a full service agreement that would be between the 2 municipalities to make sure that it just captures everything within the agreement, and it will also formalize everything as well. The communications to date between myself and people at Wollaston Township has been very positive. Things have been moving along quite nicely, and everything's going to work out very well. One thing it will do is it creates that partnership for the municipality with other municipalities. It also shows that the partnership that we have, that we're available to help out our neighboring municipalities. As well, it will give our waste site the added revenues that we need to secure to make sure that we can continue to be sustainable in the waste site and our operations as well. As everyone knows, it's an expensive proposition looking after our waste site and trying to keep up with excavation and covering and making sure that we keep the landfill open as long as we can. So.
Thank you. Any questions on that for Perry? Barry McGibbon.
Yeah, the other report you sent to us the other day by email, there was talk of weight or for the vehicles to be weighed for the first 3 months. How does that affect our summer? Because their waste site must double their intake in the summer, or in that summer type season for 4 or 5 months. So I didn't know, how do we capture that? If we only do it for the first 3 months.
What we're trying to do there, Councillor McGibbon, is make sure that we have the consistent amount of material in the bins each time we weigh them. And if we do notice, if our staff notice that there is any changes, then we'll randomly weigh them to see if there's any type of difference in the weights. And with anything at all, I'm hoping that, in the future, I'm not saying near future, but it would be something that I would like to see, that we have a set of scales at our weigh site anyways, so that we can weigh all the material coming in, and then we get a true reflection of each and every unit coming in to be weighed too, right?
Yeah. So Perry, I would make the assumption you're only going to be moving full bins, correct?
That is absolutely correct. Yes. Yeah.
So so Barry, just correct me on your thinking here. So if we're only moving full bins, are you still anticipating there'd be a big variation weight depending on the seasonality?
I guess not. I guess I was just thinking of volume and yeah. Sorry, my different train of thought, I guess.
That's okay. I just wanted. I didn't know if summer garbage was heavier than winter or something. I didn't know.
Well, sometimes maybe because of the type of garbage, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, and plus we can take that into mind too, that the spring of the year, there's no reason why we couldn't do another couple random weights just to be sure that we're still running on target. In the winter time, if we end up, if the bins are open all day when they're working down there in say, and it snows 4 or 6 inches, then that it could weigh less than what actually packed right full of garbage is, correct? Or freezing in the corners or something of that sort too. So we'll be certain to keep a mindful eye on that, and the service agreement will allow us to negotiate back and forth with both municipalities to make sure that it's in everyone's interest.
And I guess that's all my thinking is that, we're going out on a limb here, and I don't want to lose by any means. I know we want to be a good neighbor, but it's business is business, and I want to make the most amount of money we can. That's all. Well,
and I do agree. I believe that this is a win-win, especially for the town of Bancroft, because it will give us that capital that we can, the reserves set aside in order to lessen burden our constituents by using revenues from other places to make sure that we keep the wayside in the condition that we want to keep it in.
Great, thank you. Does that answer your question there, Barry?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? So passed, thank you.
Thank you.
Item E, Art Gallery Bancroft financial contribution request. Resolution be it resolved, the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Bancroft is hereby approve of a $500 financial contribution for 2021 to the Art Gallery Bancroft for the 2021, quote, the Town of Bancroft Best in Show Award as presented. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Caulfield, and seconded by Councillor Miles. Thank you. I believe we've done this in the past. This is just a repeat, et cetera. Did anybody have any comments or questions on that?
Question?
Yes, Councillor Wiggins.
I just wondered why this is coming forth now and not coming forth at budget time. Either if they needed it this year, why it wasn't presented in the spring earlier, or if not, why it doesn't wait until next year.
I think it was an annual thing that was in the budget, like per se, because we had that sort of community contribution section of our budget in the past. And I think that it maybe slid by or whatever. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the treasurer wants to add anything to this or not, but Yes, I see Hollywood Square. Bill, there you are.
Yes. So yeah, we budgeted $15,000, not specifically, and we actually went. A group of us went through. I think Wayne, you might have been included, Councillor Wiggins,
Yep.
in terms of some of the details behind it. And I recall that was mentioned as something we'd contribute to. So it was contemplated, but not specifically budgeted for, as we had a general $15,000 amount.
So it's within that $15,000 pool.
Yes.
Okay.
And I remember that too, and that's good, but I just like to bring it up that possibly next year, then they could send an application in January, so it can actually be in the budget, and it's easier to track that way.
Okay, thank you. So, all in favor? So passed, thank you. Okay, here we go. Item F, celebrating Halloween in 2021. So the resolution before us is, whereas the risk of spreading COVID-19 is still present in our community, and whereas we rely on provincial guidelines and recommendations on ways that we can prevent the spread of the virus, and whereas the safety of our community is the responsibility of each and every resident, now therefore be it resolved, the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Bancroft is hereby strongly encourages residents to celebrate Halloween 2021 in accordance with the Ontario provincial guidelines as presented. Could I have a mover and a seconder on that one, please? Deputy Mayor and Councillor Miles, is anybody have any comment on that? Fairly self-explanatory, I think. Thank you. All in favor? So passed. Thank you. Okay, Bancroft Lions Club Santa Claus Parade. Be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of Town of Bancroft is hereby permit the closure of municipal roads, being that part of Monk Street from Public Works Garage to Sherburne Street, and that part of Sherburne Street from the intersection of Monk Street to Bridge Street, and that part of Bridge Street from the intersection of Sherburne Street to Hastings Street, and that part of Hastings Street from the intersection of Bridge Street to Station Street, and that part of Station Street from the intersection of Hastings Street to Riverside Park for the Bancroft Lions Club Annual Santa Claus Parade on Saturday, December 4th, 2021, commencing at 2:30 p.m. and dispersing at approximately 3:30 p.m. Could I have a mover and a seconder on that, please? Councillor Wiggins, and seconded by Councillor Caulfield. Any comments from anybody? Councillor Wiggins.
I just have concerns of how we're going to, or our responsibility to maintain the protocols for COVID. Children being children, they're going to be excited. They're going to be busy. The adults, I think, do we need someone to maybe go ahead of the parade with a speaker reminding everyone to wear your masks and stay social, or are we just going to let nature here? I have some concerns about, normally it draws a pretty big crowd, and with COVID is not gone yet. So I do have some concerns about it.
So perhaps we should add to this resolution in accordance with public health guidelines.
I'd appreciate that.
Okay. Amber, do we have to amend? What do we got to do?
So I will just add in accordance with public health guidelines, and everyone can vote on it.
Okay. Okay. You okay with that, Wayne?
I am. Who's responsible to verify that? That's my next question.
Well, we can get in contact with the health unit.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. So I think we've moved and seconded. So all in favor? So passed. Thank you. Item H. Oh, hang on. Long one. I need a drink first. Okay, here we go. Support for Ontario Library Association, Canadian Federation of Public Libraries pre-budget submission. Draft resolution, whereas public libraries are vibrant community hubs where residents of all ages and backgrounds can learn, work, train, innovate, explore, and connect. And whereas the North Hastings Public Library provides community members with equitable, reliable access to broadband internet. And whereas the North Hastings Public Library uses technology to make resources more accessible and responsive to people's changing needs. And whereas the North Hastings Public Library supports local economic development through the provision of important important business development and job skills programming for adults and youth. And whereas the North Hastings Public Library works closely with local residents to deliver valued programs and services and shares knowledge and resources. And whereas the North Hastings Public Library continues to responsibly manage public resources with the utmost care and is committed to the sustainability of its services. And whereas the North Hastings Public Library recognizes the opportunity that targeted provincial investment can provide to secure more equitable access to increasingly significant digital resources and library-based services library-based services, I think we should say, across Ontario. Now, therefore, be resolved that the town of Bancroft encourages the province of Ontario to continue to recognize and support the contribution of local libraries within their communities, and further that the town of Bancroft encourages the province of Ontario to maintain existing funding for Ontario's public libraries, and further that the town of Bancroft encourages the province of Ontario to make a new ongoing target annual investment to strengthen access to modern, cost-effective digital resources and services for all Ontarians through local public libraries. Further, that a copy of this resolution be sent to the Ontario Minister of Heritage, Sport, Tourism and Culture Industries, to the Ontario Minister of Municipal Affairs, and to local MPPs, to the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, to the Ontario Library Association, to the Federation of Ontario Public Libraries. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor and Councillor Miles. And don't anybody ask me to go back and read any portion of that, please. So, all in favor, please. So passed. Thank you. Okay, item 12, notice of motion, none. Number 13, consent agenda. Before I go read that resolution, is there anything there that anybody wanted to pull outside of the all-encompassing consent agenda? Okay, I don't see anybody. I thought maybe there was something there. Okay. Be resolved that items listed under the consent agenda, items 13B to 13Q, be received by the Corporation of Town of Bancroft for information. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Caulfield, seconded by Councillor Barry McGibbon. All in favor, please. So passed. Thank you. Okay, consent agenda for support. Be it resolved that Council of the Corporation of the Town of Bancroft is hereby support the items listed under consent agenda item 14B, and further that a letter of support be prepared to the appropriate minister organization outlining Council's support. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Miles, seconded by Councillor Caulfield. So, is there any questions on this? Seem to be pretty straightforward and what everybody's been advocating for quite some time with respect to infrastructure, et cetera. And the nice part is we have had over the last number of years a doubling of the gas tax. So let's hope that that continues and actually grows beyond that. So any questions on this? Seeing none, all in favor, please. So passed. Thank you. Community announcements and events. Would anybody like to speak to this? Councillor Tracy, I believe you attended the Mosaic, did you not?
Sorry, muted. I did, it was awesome. I didn't get to stay for the whole unveiling. I had to pick up my daughter, but fantastic, absolutely amazing. Very, very well attended. They actually had a lot more people attend than what they anticipated. So they were pleasantly surprised, overwhelmed in a positive way. And yeah, pretty incredible. So wonderful job.
Like I pointed out in my opening remarks, full credit to Chief Hoover and staff for doing a fantastic job, you know. And also, as I mentioned to the chief, the location is great. It's very visible, and I have seen since it's been installed, I've seen people, you know, gathered around there for some sort of formal ceremonies, et cetera. So that's great, you know.
Yeah.
And Councillor Wiggins, you could chat with respect to the Eagle's Nest, I would believe.
Can. Eagle's Nest, I represented council and our residents at the grand reopening of it. A great job was done by everyone. It just shows how a community can pull together with volunteers and make things happen. It was with the Indigenous, the feds, the province, the town park staff did a great job there. And it is being really, really well used. It'll be a real attraction for our tourism for our community. And if you haven't had a chance to go up there and look around, take a look. The staff, the birdwatch tower or platform, much more accessible. Whatever. It's just a great day, and it was attended by many dignitaries across the county, including Rick Phillips, our warden. So it was a good day, and I think it went over great.
Thank you. And again, hats off to Chief Hoover and the Parks Department, who did a fantastic job up there. And also to the stewards of Eagle's Nest, who on our behalf, oversee the operation of the park. If you go online and read the many, many, many comments, probably 98% of them are so supportive. They do mention the interpretive side with respect to the Indigenous story, as well as the flora fauna aspect of it as well. And I know it's been talked about for a number of years. There is a good chunk of M&R land that abuts it, and I think it would behoove us, and I have mentioned this to several members, and I'll mention it to you, Councillor Miles, too. It'd be really nice to start the process to look at expanding the trails onto that section of land. There's some beautiful property back there. I know there's been some initial exploratory discussions that have gone back over the years, but I think it's the natural evolution of that park. So if you want to make any comment on that, Val, please, by all means.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. That piece of the M&R is certainly part of the strategic plan that's been put together by the stewards of the Eagle's Nest. It is definitely on the agenda. I just wanted to throw out there for anybody who would be interested, this Saturday at 9 o'clock, there is a cleanup that goes on in the park. It is volunteers, people who want to go up to the Eagle's Nest. They sort of go through and pick up garbage and butts and, fallen limbs and trees and things like that. They take some time to work within the park and clean it all up. So volunteers are always appreciated. I think it starts at 9, if I'm not mistaken. And along with, I think between Andra and the BBIA and Jody and the chief in town, the MOU with the BBIA it's a really great document, and it's very straightforward and easy to read. So as it stands, the stewards, we also have a mutual agreement with them, but it's understanding of operations. But it sort of somehow along the way has been, it's been missed. We have a document, but it's not been signed. So we will be working on getting that back together, getting something together to present to council under the same kind of idea and format as what we just have put together for the BBIA. Just a little nod to our treasurer. There was some commentary regarding how it's sort of difficult to understand exactly where the Hawkwatch platform is when you arrive and look at the signs. And the group also understood exactly what I was talking about, Bill, and they agreed. And so along the way, when we were doing some of the rework with the park and the over last year, they had sort of asked that we have sort of some different signage instead of just that little eagle, because it actually appears like when you walk up there that the Hawkwatch, the platform is actually off to the left when it's not, it's off to the right. So the understanding of what you brought forward, Bill, is very true. There is some misunderstanding. So that is being discussed now, and we will probably look at some ways to provide a little better direction for people to get to the platform. And to just to what Wayne had to say, I still can't get over what a beautiful thing we have here in Bancroft when it comes to that little piece of land and that park and that view and how special that is. And so thanks for showing up, Wayne, for the dedication and the reopening of the park and on my behalf. And it's just a beautiful thing. I can never get over it. I can't seem to gush enough about that place. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Yes, Mayor Jenkins, just wanted to report back. I did attend the Bancroft Pentecostal Tabernacle's 100th celebration of being a service to the town and to the residents, and it was well attended, and everyone was very pleased with the video that they were showing, that they showed, and and I see we got a letter back saying their appreciation. So just want to bring that forward.
Thank you. And I'd like to thank yourself and Councillor Miles and Councillor Wiggins for standing in for me as well at these, because I was out of town and those items were all, either on the same day or jam-packed very close together. So thank you very much for that. And yeah, we did get that letter from the church, and and I also had a phone call on it, so it was well appreciated. So anybody else? Boy, it's nice to have a community announcement. We haven't had really much to announce over the last 18 months, so it's positive. So, okay, bylaws next. First, second, and third reading. So be it resolved that the following bylaws be introduced and read a first, second, and third time and be finally passed, and that the mayor and clerk do sign and seal the same. Any rule of this council to the contrary notwithstanding. Bylaw number 79-2021 being a bylaw to authorize the corporation of town of Bancroft to enter into an agreement to convey as one parcel with Kristen Hollyoak, Jonathan Faulkner, and Esther Robbins. Bylaw number 80-2021 being a bylaw to authorize the corporation of town of Bancroft to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Bancroft Business Improvement Area. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Wiggins and Councillor Tracy McGibbon, all in favor, please. Thank you. So next we have a closed session of council. General nature is the GM hiring update, acting clerk contract, and block 68. Why don't we take a 10-minute break and reconvene at 4:40, please.
Andra, it looks like you're standing in front of the Bancroft sign.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I'm sitting in my chair, but it doesn't pick up my chair for whatever reason. It's
No,
weird.
this looks like you're standing there, so.
I gotta go get a fall picture now and update it because that's tulips. That's clearly spring. So I'm at the other side of the year now. So
Well, in the county, they actually like my background in the middle of winter because it gives them some hope, is what they say. So I guess it's 4:40. So we will call this closed session to order, please. Declaration of pecuniary interest and nature thereof.
Mayor Jenkins,
Yes.
you did not read the resolution going into closed yet.
Oh, see, we were tested. See, you're on this agenda. So that was a little pre-test for the agenda to see. Okay. Okay. Moving into closed session. It had slipped up the page. Be it resolved, the Council of the Corporation, Town of Bancroft is hereby moved into closed session pursuant to Municipal Act SO 2001, Section 239 2B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. C, proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. And D, labor relations or employee negotiations. General nature, general manager hiring position update, acting clerk contract, block 68. Mover and a seconder, please. Mover, please.